let's talk my Ramadan reading list. So obviously Ramadan is a time where obviously you want to connect spiritually and religiously, but also it is a time where you should be thinking about educating yourself, yes, on religious things, but also you can use this time to educate yourself on other things that are important, especially things that may help others as well as yourself. So I will preface this, yes, of course, I will be rereading the Quran. I'm going to be reading it again in English with my Oxford University Press. That's the one I read it in English. It's the one that I believe, at least on my research, is the one I was like, okay, this seems to be the best one. Picture will be here about it. Also a link to it will be in the description down below. Now let's get into the other books I'll be reading. The first book is Capitalism and Slavery by Eric Williams. It is a 1940s book looking into slavery and capitalism's role in it, in particular surrounding the British Empire, written in the 1940s. So it's not one of those books where people will type, oh, it's this woke book and I hate the British Empire. This was like at not the height, the tail end of the British Empire, written I believe in 1944. I'm about a quarter of the way into it already. It very much talks about the role of capitalism in the construction of the modern day slavery system, or at least modern day at the time, so the chattel slavery system. It does go into some of the historical past and past slavery before transatlantic slavery, but that is the main bulk of the book, it seems to be. It does also talk a lot about indentured servitude and how, especially in the British Empire and the European empires, indentured servitude basically turned into slavery in certain areas of the world. But it's a very interesting read thus far. Again, written in the 1940s, so the language isn't super accessible. It's actually one where I am reading and listening to the book at the same time. I watched this video about it. If I can find the video, I'll put the screenshot of the video here, and I thought I'd experiment the listening and reading at the same time. I did it a little bit with a previous book I'd read. I believe it was, I'm going to forget what it is, I'm going to put it here, The Sympathizer. I did a little bit of listening and reading it at the same time as well, but I'm doing it for the whole book this time, and I'll let you know what it's like. The second book is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. It is the only non-fiction book I've got on my list to read this month. Basically, a lot of the books I have touch on themes that aren't exactly PG, and you don't really want to be consuming that kind of stuff during Ramadan. It's meant to be one of those periods where you're very, religiously minded. Obviously, you can't avoid those things in all contexts in life, especially where you live, dependent where you live. But I wanted to read a more light-hearted, warm book over this period. I felt it was appropriate, and also, to be honest, I've been reading a lot of very heavy books, whether they be fiction or non-fiction, and from what I read of the blurb of this book, it seems to be very heartwarming and heartfelt. I'm sure there will be things that make me very sad reading this, but I feel like it's want to be one of those less, oh my god, why did I read this book? More those, touching books, so I'm hoping that's the case. Thirdly is This Orient Isle by Jerry Broughton. I've actually had this book for quite a while. I think I also had a hardcover version someone gave to me, or someone gave me this one and I gave away the hardcover, but this book is actually about Elizabethan England and its relationship with the Islamic world, which seems fitting to read during Ramadan. It'll be interesting to see. I actually haven't read a lot about that relationship. It is one of the thicker books I think I'm reading this month, so I don't know if I will finish it in the month because, I can read books fairly fast, but when it comes to non-fiction, I am much, much slower reading. But, it will be interesting to kind of learn about this. I don't actually know Jerry Broughton's background. If I make a video on this book, I'll probably do more research into Broughton himself, because obviously when you're reading a piece of non-fiction, it is good to always look back at the author's past, their proclivities, their opinions, just because it helps inform your understanding of the text as well. And finally is The Fight by Norman Miller. It is all about Muhammad Ali's fight in Zaire, the rumble in the jungle. I didn't actually think of it, but Muhammad Ali, very prominent, outspoken Muslim, so that's actually an additional benefit. I just wanted to read this, and I thought this would be a good time to read it. It will be interesting. Norman Mailer, I believe, has written very good books on boxing, in particular Muhammad Ali's boxing. I'm not 100% sure, but he might have written that really big book that came out after Ali passed away about him, but I will have to double check. But I got this. This is one of those gift aid books I spoke about before. It was one of the ones I got from Oxfam. I think I made a video on that. If I did, link up above. I also love, it's completely unrelated, but I love when older books start to fade and they get this nice yellow colour on them. I don't know if anyone else likes that. I just think it gives the book a lot of character. I know newer books don't actually fade that much. It's a bit sad. I know it does make them feel fresh and look fresh. It adds so much character to it. But yes, this book is all about the fight in Zaire, the stuff all around it. In my opinion, that Rumble in the Jungle fight was... Obviously, Muhammad Ali was also massive boxer, well known at that point. But I think the Rumble in the Jungle was almost this like... It felt so big. I can't think of a boxing fight right now that completely encapsulates culture, not just within boxing. I think the most recent fight, maybe in the past couple of years, maybe was Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder might have been slightly bigger, because that kind of encapsulates the both US and UK audiences. But I think that doesn't even compare to the size of the Rumble in the Jungle, the Zaire fight. So yeah, I'm interested to read about that, and also, it is about a prominent Muslim, which I just clocked when filming this video. So those are the books I'm going to aim to read over Ramadan, obviously in conjunction with actual religious texts. Please let me know in the comments down below if you're fasting this year, what you're going to read, if you're still going to be reading books that aren't specifically religious texts, or it's a text that's maybe about religion. If you're not fasting, you're not doing Ramadan, obviously please let me know down below what you're going to be reading over basically April. It's the last week of March plus the first 3 weeks of April. So hey, let me know about that in the comment section down below. Remember, if you want to check out any of these books, the comment section will not have it, because the description will have it down below. Remember to like, subscribe, share the video with a friend or family member, and hey, I hope you read a great book today.